question.
Well, yeah, that's part of the hypocrisy. You're
Right.
supposed to go to Duke for an education, like Justin Robinson. That was the main reason he went there. He's a pretty good athlete. He could have played in a lot of other schools, but he wanted a Duke degree. Well, Zion Williams and R.G. Barrett, they're never going to get a Duke degree. They don't need one. They make plenty of money. So,
I mean, a lot of times people tend to talk about Notre Dame when it comes to college football, and Notre Dame. Well, it's hard for them to get a lot of these blue chip recruits because their academic standards are so high, and therefore a lot of these guys end up going someplace else anyhow. I mean, Notre Dame's academic standards are extremely, extremely high.
yeah. Well, it's a little different with football and basketball because basketball you just need a couple guys and you can be a dominant team.
That's true.
For football, you need a lot of guys on both sides of the ball.
Right.
And Duke is a perfect example of that. Duke's a national power in basketball. As soon as they roll the ball out on the court, and Duke football was just awful before David Cutcliffe came about 12 years ago.
Right.
In fact, they had a couple of winless seasons. And David Cutcliffe, who was at Tennessee for a long time, Coach Peyton Manning, he was the offensive coordinator there. He had some success at Ole Miss, was unfairly fired after one bad season, and ended up at Duke. And he's just done remarkable things there at Duke.
Yeah.
They did the Bowls 6 of the last 8 years, I think it is. But for Duke to be a national power, that's not going to happen because they can't find that many football players, just like Notre Dame has not the national power they used to be because of academics and being tough to get in certain guys.
No, but the fact that they're credible, respectable programs says a lot about David Cutcliffe in itself. All right, let's go on to one of your favorite subjects, the college football playoff. I wrote down your scores, so let's see how much they match up to where we're at and what your prediction is going to be next week. Just so you know, I'll be in L.A. next week, so we're going to try to get your predictions out of the way ahead of time. But I do have them written down, Tommy. You had LSU.
Yeah, I think I was pretty close, but maybe backward with Clemson and Ohio State.
Well, okay, let's start off with your scores here were LSU 44, Oklahoma 30. Well, LSU scored well over 40 points. Oklahoma, well, I guess they came close to what did they score, like 24 or whatever?
28, I believe.
28. So you weren't too far off on their score. It's just LSU scored a lot more points than your 44, but you got the double digits right. So what are your thoughts about how that one turned out?
I get a mulligan on that, but you're not supposed to be able to score 60 points in a playoff game.
All right. Then you gave yourself a mulligan. All right, no problem. But you got the but I'll tell you one thing I'm not giving you a mulligan on is the Clemson Ohio State. You said it was going to be a close game. It was, albeit there were a couple plays in there that perhaps cost Ohio State the game. But Clemson and LSU are still were the two teams that you predicted to get to the finals, and now they are indeed in the finals.
So I did predict a Clemson victory then.
Yeah, by a field goal, and they won by 6 points. No, your predictions were on target. You get the mulligan for the 60 points. So
yeah, I thought you were saying I missed it.
No, I didn't say that at all.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought that it had been a close game, and it was not only a close game; it was closer than it should have been. And Ohio State got screwed over on a couple of calls.
Yeah, I know. That's what we've talked about. Some of our analysts tonight. Lewis, go on. What do you got?
Yeah, I got a question for you, Tom. We hadn't seen Trevor Lawrence really use his mobility as much as he did. I believe he broke away for a 67-yard run into the end zone. Is that a part of his game that he's just kind of kept hidden? Or, I mean, in your estimation, how good of a runner is he from all the college football that you've watched, especially Clemson, and how great they've been the last few years?
Yeah, I wouldn't say they kept it hidden. He's a drop-back quarterback, and that's what they play to his strength. But he's also a good athlete, and the field just opened up for him. He made a couple of moves to get away from pressure, and there was so much pressure on him that once he beat that one safety with a nice juke move, he had the field in front of him, and he showed that he's fast enough to get there without being tracked down from behind. So I guess you'd have to say he showed more mobility than people might have realized he had. But he's a good athlete, and he'd be foolish to try to have him run any more than he does. So, yeah, but that was an impressive run. And interestingly, if you watch the Rose Bowl, Justin Herbert, the Oregon quarterback, had a similar game. He's not really known for running, and he broke off a couple of touchdown runs.
Yeah, I believe he finished that game with 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, that's part of the field being the football field's just so much more wide open than it ever was. It's a different game with all the passing, and you get the linebackers and defensive backs spread out. And if you got a quarterback with Trevor Lawrence, not only a good athlete, but he showed some good instincts on finding where the running room was.
Well, I got to tell you, Tommy, the only bowl game I saw all year was the one I covered. That's Michigan and Alabama. The Wolverines hung tough for the first half, and then after that, the Crimson Tide outscored Michigan 21-0 to earn the 35 to 16.
35-16, really.
35 to 16 win. So, what are your thoughts about how the way the Tide played?
Well, they were impressive. I think we talked about how they might not show up because they didn't make the college football playoff. That they just wouldn't be ready for the game, and the Michigan had a lot more to show. But I guess that just shows you how deep Alabama's talent is.
Yeah,
they have such an edge on recruiting. They're 2 and 3 players deep every year because so many 4 and 5-star players commit the year. It doesn't matter how many guys turn pro. They've got one ready to step right in, going into his sophomore year, if not his true freshman year, coming onto campus in January. But that was an impressive performance. And the quarterback might be better than people are giving him credit for. You know what? I was out and about. Did Tua make his announcements today if he's coming back?
No, he's scheduled to do that on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that impressed me, and I voted for him in my ballot too, Tommy, was Judy, the wide receiver out of Deerfield Beach High School, actually.
Yeah.
And I believe it's Judy. I don't have the name, but Judy from Deerfield Beach High. And I had 204 yards on 6 catches.
Oh,
and
wow.
This kid was unbelievable. He knows how to run those routes, and he looked good doing it. So, and then Najee Harris is another guy that on that last drive carried the ball 11 times, 140 yards for the game with a couple of touchdowns. So, you see the Tide up close and personal. They're very good. Nobody's doubting that. A lot of people just can't stand Nick Saban at all. I'll actually be writing a story for the South Florida Tribune that should be up probably no later than Saturday on the Citrus Bowl game. And so and maybe you might want to even look into it, Tommy. I'll let you know when it comes out, and then you can read it. Every so often, yours truly does write. Okay, when I have to. I pick my spots when to do it. But the Citrus Bowl was good. I like the way Michigan hung in there for the first half. But in the end, in fact, I think the biggest highlight was the 57-yard field goal by Quinn Nordine, which set the Citrus Bowl record and tied a Michigan record at 57 yards. I mean, Nordine had got some leg on that one for sure.
Yeah. Well, the thing about college football nowadays is you got to have a quarterback and an offensive line. If you don't, things are going to fall apart very quickly. And, Alabama didn't have their starting quarterback. They still have a good quarterback, and they still have a good offensive line. So that's what it all comes down to in college football nowadays is having an offensive line and a quarterback. And a lot of people will say that's true about the NFL nowadays, too, because it's harder to find offensive linemen.
Oh, yeah. So tell me, Joe Burrow definitely came as advertised, didn't he, in that LSU game?
Yeah. Boy, I guess he's going to be a Cincinnati Bengal. They have the first pick, right?
Yeah, yeah. He's an Ohio kid staying on I-75 on the Kentucky border.
That's right.
So that's what it sounds like. Now all they need is 52 other players.
Yeah, no, I don't know my Ohio geography that well, but he's from Athens, Ohio, correct?
I believe you're right, yeah.
Yeah, and is that closer to Cincinnati than Cleveland?
isn't Athens, Ohio, right near the Ohio University, if I remember right?
Yeah, but is that closer to Cleveland, the Browns, or Cincinnati, the Bengals?
I believe it's actually closer to Cincinnati. I think it's in southern Ohio, if I remember right.
Yeah, I think so also.
I think what could definitely be said is we could have never been surveyors about 250 years ago when they were mapping out the country, because we're all a little lost here. But yeah, I mean,
not necessarily. Ohio Bobcats. Just so you know, a little trivia here, Lewis and Tommy. The guy that's coaching the Ohio Bobcats is a guy by the name of Frank Solich, who ran a good program with Nebraska. A little trivia there.
And I believe
Nebraska wouldn't be suffering as much as they are now if they had to run them out of town for what, a 10-2 season?
Yeah, that was a dumb move. I think Nebraska, shame on them for letting Frank Solich go. But Frank Solich is one of those guys that never took on a higher profile job. I was happy to have the smaller job and no pressure. He'll have a statue outside of Ohio Stadium anyways where the Bobcats play. So he's okay. I've seen a lot of those types of guys where they've coached in the big time. One in our backyard, Lewis and Tommy, is Howard Schnellenberger. Mm-hmm. So, it's okay for guys that had the big job to go ahead and take the smaller job and their icons in that area. So anything else you want to add, Tommy, to what you've already talked about?
Yeah, one other thing I'll mention, and these stories are on my website. I tweeted it out. Oregon is kind of faded off the map a little bit after Chip Kelly left. Chip Kelly was doing some illegal recruiting. In fact, he has a show cause on him while he was in the NFL before he could return to the college ranks at UCLA because he was paying recruiting people for information. So their program kind of fell off, and now it's come back with the Rose Bowl season. I think they deserve to be in the pack into the college football playoffs. I don't think you should have two teams. Let's see. Wait a minute. I'm getting ahead of myself here. We did have 4 different conferences this year, didn't we?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Pac-12 was the only one left out. Oklahoma, Oregon. I don't think there's that much difference between them. But the point I want to make is they've come back, and one of the reasons they've come back is the recruiting. And one of their assistant coaches is a guy named Joe Salavea. And Joe, I know going all the way back to his high school days at Oceanside High, he's from America, Samoa. And he came to Oceanside where a lot of Samoan kids, a lot of Polynesian kids have played football and gone on to college in the NFL. The most famous one, of course, is Junior Seau. And Joe went on and played at Arizona, played in the NFL for about 10 years. He was coaching with Mike Leach up at Washington State and bringing a lot of Samoan players, including from America Samoan, up there. And so he's had two Outland Trophy winners. One was at Washington State, and now this year he has one. Let's see, I got to remember how to pronounce his name. Penny Sewell.
All right, there you go.
And he won the Outland Trophy. And if you look at Oregon's recruiting, they're getting in a lot of 4-stars, and a lot of them are Joe Salavea recruits, and a lot of them are Samoan and Polynesian athletes. So I kind of retweeted out a couple of stories I've written in the past over about Joe Salavea. And so, when a story gets more traffic, it'll pop up back up on my list of stories. One of the stories I wrote about is how Joe has done a lot of foundation work and was actually honored at the White House back in about when George Bush was still president, so 2006 or so.
All right,
anyways, real interesting guy, real inspiring story.
I got 30 seconds left. I'll just add one more footnote to this whole broadcast on your end. Don't sleep on Mario Cristobal. After all, the guy did a great job at Florida International University. To see him doing what he's doing out in Oregon doesn't surprise me. He did a lot with nothing at FIU, and now the guy's got a big job out in Oregon. So with that said, Tommy, we'll bring you I'll be in Los Angeles next week, but plan on coming back on the program when I return. Okay, so come up with some good material, and we'll make sure we get it out there. Okay, buddy?
Okay, visit my website, ShanahanReport.com, or Twitter. Follow me, 40-55.
All right, well, you heard it, folks. Shanny, 40.